Hi, my dear students. This is a part 2 of the customer catalog. And right now, I would like to run the application so you can see what we could see. I am running it and check. We couldn't see the GUI that we were creating in SimBuilder. This is the example that is given by default by IntelliJ IDEA. And it is correct. I just wanted to see if it was running properly. And why? It's because we haven't finished coding. We already have finished with the GUI in SimBuilder. Remember this one? This is the GUI of our customer catalog. But in order to continue working with our app, so we can see our customer catalog in action, let me show you what we have to do. Here is another one that I created previously. So let me run this one so you can see what our app is going to do. In this case, we have the ID. So for example, if I type 1 as the ID of the customer and then the name Paco, mail, Paco at hotmail.com, and then the phone 1234, and then I'm going to click the button add. And as you can see, that customer is going to be added in our table view. Okay, then let's try to add another customer. So number 2 in the ID, name Laura, and then the mail Laura at gmail.com, for example, and the phone 789 and 0 add. Okay, once you click add, the customer is going to be added to the table view. And then if we want to modify, for example, this one, number 2, Laura, if we change the name for Claudia, and then click modify, the name is going to be modified, okay? This is for what we are going to use the button modify. We can modify the name, the mail, or the phone, or the ID. And then if we want to, for example, let's see, we're going to add a third customer. The ID should be 3, but I'm going to type number 2 again, so you can see what is going to happen. Check that the ID number 2 already exists in the table view. So the name could be Eduardo, and then mail Eduardo at hotmail.com, and then the phone 4578. Okay. If I try to add that new customer, it's going to tell me customer ID already exists. Okay, so we are going to click accept, and everything in our blue rectangle, the 4 fields are going to be erased for us to retype, okay, the customer again, but with a different ID. We cannot have repeated IDs in our customer catalog, which is correct. And then we're missing to see the delete button, how it works. For example, if I want to delete the customer Claudia with the ID 2, I select it here in the table view. And that's why it's important for us to code when clicking in the table view, because I selected clicking in the table view. Okay, so I click, and then we click in the delete button, and it is going to ask us, are you sure that you want to delete that customer? Yes, accept. We can cancel. If I cancel, check. It is not going to be deleted. So I have to click again on it, and then I'm going to click delete again, and then I'm going to type, yes, accept. And in that moment, it is going to be deleted. Okay? So this is what we're going to do. Let me close this example. This is not ours. It was this is a previous project that I did. And now let me go back to our practice. Okay, good. Now, in this one, my dear students, let's see our presentation, though, so we do not omit anything. And here we have our presentation, so you can follow it. And we already controlled, remember the last thing that we did in the part 1? We copied the skeleton from the scene builder, the controller skeleton, and we paste it in the main screen controller in IntelliJ. Let me show you where, so you can remember. Here, okay? So we copied it here. And then, my dear students, in the next slide, we have to refactor. Let me go to the next slide. We have to refactor the Hello application into My application. Remember, so we can identify which is the class that contains the code with the one we're going to start running our app. Okay, so it is this one. Let's refactor this. We already did this in the other practice that we did, the login and the welcome pages. And let me go back to IntelliJ. Okay, remember, we have to click in the Hello application in the left panel, right click on it, and then we have the option refactor. Please do not rename. We have to refactor, as I have explained you. We use refactor so it could change the name of this class in wherever it is being used in all the projects, okay? So refactor, and then we go straight, and then we go up to select the rename option. And here we are going to change, instead of Hello application, we are going to type my with capital letter M, My application. And you have to check all the options, okay? And then where it says scope, this is project files. In all the project files, we want to change the name of this class. And then click refactor, and it is going to be changed or refactored. And here, as you can see, it says My application, as well as in the tab of the code of the class, it says My application. But remember that we have to open them. Here you have it in the presentation, so you do not omit that, my dear students. Check in the next slide. Please remember to change in our build Gradle KTS file. We have to change, remember, in this line, that it used to say, as this is written as text, as a string, we have to change it manually. Okay, so let's go back to IntelliJ IDEA so we can do that. That file is not open right now, so we have to look for it. It is this one, my dear students, the one that says build Gradle.kts. Double click on it, so it could be open here, so we can see the code, and then scroll down, so we can look for, here we have it. On this line, this is the line 30. And at the end of the line 30, we have Hello application, and this is not Hello application anymore. So we have to change it to My with capital letter M, My application. Okay, my dear students? Good. Now we are going to, please do not forget, check that when we do any change here, this little elephant is going to appear with the two arrows that forming a circle. It means that this is for us to synchronize the changes in all the files. So we are going to click on it. And it's going to disappear because it is already, the changes are already synchronized. And we're going to close this file because we're not going to use it right now. And now, once we have refactorized our My application class, let's see our presentation. And here you have the reminding about the sync, about to sync the changes. And now we are going to start with the code of My application class. Check that in the IntelliJ. In My application, we have the code given automatically or by default by IntelliJ when creating a new project, but we are not going to use this one anymore. It is similar, the one that we are going to use, but we are going to create our code, the one that is going to be used in order to see our GUI in action. Something important, my dear students, here we have the libraries. Check that you have an arrow besides the word import and these dots, meaning that if you click in the arrow, you're going to expand and you're going to be able to see all the libraries that we are going to use. Okay, but what I'm going to do, my dear students, check that in the presentation you have the code that we are going to use. You already have it in the presentation. So in order not to last a lot of time for you to keep watching the video, I'm going to copy and paste the code that I already have created. It's the same code in my previous project. Let me look for it. Here it is. This is my application class in my previous project. Okay, so I'm not going to copy the first line because it says the name of the project that corresponds to this other project. So I'm going to start copying the libraries, okay, and all the other part of the code. Control copy, and then I'm going to paste it so we don't lose a lot of time here in imports. Just check that you are pasting it in the correct class, which is my application, okay? Control V. Good. And now, excellent, we have all the libraries. And remember, this is the class that we use to, so IntelliJ IDEA could start running our graphic unit interface and our app. Remember that the libraries that we have here are the libraries that we need in order to run the app. Remember, this is the application is the parent class, and my application is the children. We saw this the last semester, but now we're applying all the knowledge that we got the last semester. And then the start method is the one that we use in order to start the app. But remember that here we have the primary stage, the show. This is a very important instruction because with this one, we're going to be able to show IntelliJ IDEA is going to be able to show the GUI, okay, the scene. Here we are assigning this scene, okay, to our stage, the primary stage. And which is our primary stage, my dear students? The primary stage is our main screen, okay? So then we have our main method. Remember that we need to have this main method. This is the one that calls the launch method. And this launch method is the one that is going to call this start method. And this is when we are going to be able to see our app. Okay. This is all related to my application. But if you want to check in detail what is happening in each line of the code, here I included the explanation. So you can go and check it in detail. Okay, let me know if you have any doubts. But in order not to take a lot of time explaining all this, I'm going to continue explaining the rest of the code. But now, my dear students, we are done with the application class. And now we are going to start coding in the main screen controller. Okay, let me go back to IntelliJ. Okay. So here we are done. And then we go to the main screen controller. Good. And check. This is the skeleton that we copied from. No, my dear students. I already copied I did the same thing. But here you're going to have the skeleton that we copied from SceneBuilder. And what I did in order to save time is that this is my previous practice, okay? And here I have also my main screen controller. If I select this one, I just copied this one, okay, into our new practice. And again, we have here all the libraries that we're going to use in order to control our graphic unit interface. And then we have here our main screen controller class. And remember that with these three instructions, when we have the add fxml, we are linking this node to the fxml file with the controller. So in this case, we have here the controller, the class with the one we control, the fxml file, but we need a way to link both of them, the fxml file with the controller. So here we are specifying or linking the add button, the delete button, and the modify button, okay? And then let me show you the presentation, because here we have the first part. And as I was telling you here, here it is explained how you can start doing some changes to the code. Here you have in detail what you have to change, but let me explain you in IntelliJ IDEA. Okay, so here, instead of having customer, comma, string, you have question mark, comma, question mark. Okay, so here you have to type customer because it is our this is related to our customer class, and this is the data type that we have. Okay, and okay, so we do the same thing for our ID. So here we have, maybe you have them in a different order. It doesn't matter, but you need to have the four of them: the phone for the ID, for the mail, and for the name. And check that we are linking them with the call phone and call ID, call mail, and call name. Okay, and in all of them we have the customer, comma, and then the data type. Check that in the ID, the data type is integer, and for all the others, string. Then, my dear students, we have the table customer, and let me check if it is in the same slide. In the slides, my dear students, you have all the code. Here you have the first part of the code, and then the next part. But in this case, I am explaining you how to do the changes. So from here, which is what you're going to have, using the class that we created, the customer class that we created, we should get something like this, okay? Then this is the other part of the code. And in this part of the code, we are going to create an observable list. Let me show you in IntelliJ IDEA, where we have the observable list. Check that we finish with this one. Private table view customer, and the table view do not have a comma and the data type, because this is the table view that contains the four columns, and then the table customers, the name of the table view. And then here we have the observable list and the initialize method. And I wanted to explain you something important about the observable list. A table view requires an observable list as a parameter. It is like an array list. But why do we do that? It's because the observable list is the one that creates the magic. So you can see the changes in real time, all the changes that you do in your table view. If you add a new customer, you are going to be able to see it in real time. If you change something or modify something of a customer, you are going to see it in real time. And if you delete a customer, you are going to see it in real time. And the observable list is the one that is responsible to do that. That's why it is important for us to have the observable list, or as well as binding the table and list. This is what it do. I think you can do it. You can see it better here. Let me check. Yeah, like this. Okay, and with this code we are binding, both the observable, the table view with the list, okay? Then we have the reset scene method. And in this reset scene method, what we are, the reset scene. And this method is created to, this is a utility to clear the content of all text fields. Do you remember when do we use it? For example, when we finish typing the data of a new customer, and when we click the add button, the customer is going to be added to the table view and all the fields are going to be cleared. So this is when this reset scene is going to be called, okay? And its function is to clear the fields, the 4 fields in order to type a new customer information. Then we have our public customer get customer data. And we create this customer object with all data entered in text fields and return a customer object. This one is for us to get the customer information. So for example, once we finish typing the data of the customer, this is all the raw information, and it is going to convert it into an object. So we can store it in the table view and then create, it's going to clear the text fields so we can type the data of a new customer. It's going to return our new C, which is the object created from the customer class. Then let me show you, my dear students, let's go back to the presentation so you can see. Okay, here you have the explanation in detail of the observable list and what is happening in each line of the code here. If you want to check it in detail, you have it in the presentation. And then we have the reset scene method and the get customer data, both methods here. And also you have here the explanation in detail of both methods. And then we go to the main screen controller, the code to find a customer. Okay, let's go back to the IntelliJ IDEA. Okay. And we have the public method in order to find a customer. Okay. So in this method, it finds the customer receipt as parameter and return its position in the observable list if it finds the customer in the observable list. Then check that we have in position equals -1. We use this -1 as a flag. It's a position which is not in the list. We usually, in Java, the indices start from 0 to 1, 2, and so on. But we do not have -1. So we use -1 as a flag, meaning that the customer doesn't exist. So it's going to remain like that if the customer is not in the list. But if the customer is in the list, if it finds the customer, it's going to give us the number of the index of that customer. Okay, so we have the counter here and the searching while loop. And check that here the counter is incremented. And then if it finds the customer, it's going to return the position. It means that the number of the index of the customer found in the list. Okay, then we have the text fields and the text ID. Remember that we have all these text fields in our GUI in Scene Builder, and we are linking all of them to the fxml file with the add fxml for the 4 of them. And then we have our method button add click. what is going to happen when we click the add button? Remember that we type the information of the customer, and when we click the add button, the customer is going to be added to the table view. Okay, so add a customer that does not exist in the list. Otherwise, send an error. Remember that when we were typing a repeated ID or duplicated ID when trying to enter a new customer, a warning was appearing specifying that the ID already exists. That way we have to check and we have to enter a new customer, not a duplicated customer, okay? This case here we have all the instructions. Sorry, my dear students, I was not showing you the presentation. Here it was to find the customer. Here you have the code, and then here you could find the explanations of each line of the code in detail, so you can check, review them, analyze them. Let me know if you have any doubt. And here we continue with the fxml links for all the text fields, the ID, the mail, the name, the phone, and then the explanation of all of them. And then we have here the code for when we click the add button. And then, okay, so for this button add, we also have here the explanation. Button add click, here you have the code. And then you have the explanation in detail. Okay, so let's see here in IntelliJ. And add the customer that does not exist in the list. Otherwise, it sends an error. Check. Here we are creating an object of our customer class, calling our get customer data method, the one that we have created below. Here, get customer find this one, okay? And then here. Okay, so if customer is different than null, it means that if the user have clicked a row in the table view, okay? So it means that if C is not null, this is the meaning. This is in order to prevent an error. So it means that if the user have clicked in a customer, it means in any of the rows in the table view, it is selecting a customer to be modified or deleted, okay? In this case, it's going to proceed to delete it, but if it is, if this condition is not true. Okay, so if this condition is true, it means that if it's not null, it means that the user is selecting a row, it means selecting a customer. It is going to enter and it's going to send the confirmation alert asking if you are sure to delete a customer. If you select yes, okay, so it's going to be deleted, removed here. And if no, it's going to be canceled. But this code is for us to remove customers. And then we have the modify click. And remember that in order to modify a customer, first we have to select the customer in the table view. That's why we use the button modify click, because first you click in the list view and then you change whatever you have to change in the table view, and then you click the modify button. Okay, so this method is going to update the info of the selected customer, then verifying if its ID didn't change, or if case is changed, that it doesn't exist, it is not duplicated. okay? So we have to click first in the table view, and that way we're going to be able to do some changes, and then we click the button modify. Now let me show you the presentation so you can see where you have that code. This is, this is for us to modify. And here you have all the explanation. Let me check. Okay, sorry, this one was for deleting. Okay, we already saw this one. Then the explanation, and then this is for us to modify. Here you have the code, and as well the explanation in detail. Now let me show you. In this button modify click method, in the in position equals table customer dot get selection model dot get selection index, it is getting the number of the index in the table, starting from 0. The first row is 0, the second row is 1, and so on. So it's going to bring us the number of the row in the table view. And then if position is no -1, it means that if the user is clicking, or in different, that -1 means that the user is clicking a row in the table view, it's going to get the data of the customer, creating an object here. And then if either of these two conditions are true, it's going to set the new information to the C customer, okay? If no, it means that, for example, with this row, we are ensuring that the user is not typing a duplicated ID of the customer. If the ID already exists, this is not going to be changed. The information with this, this is not going to happen, okay? But if we are typing a new ID, we're going to be able to change it, okay? But if it is being duplicated, it's going to show an alert showing all these messages, okay? And in the end, it is going to reset the scene, so we can continue typing the information of new customers, okay? And then we have the table click method. And in this table click method, with this last method, my dear students, the table click method is just to check if the user is clicking in one of the row of the customers where we have customers, okay? And it is going to show that information of that specific customer in of the text fields that we have in the blue rectangle, remember? So if C is not null, it means that if the user is clicking in a row where we have the information of a customer, it's going to show with all these lines of code. It's going to show that information of the customer to the in the text fields that we have. And this is an interesting thing here that we have here. With this one, with this instruction, we are converting the integer number into a string with the plus and the empty string here, because the text field do not accept integer numbers. It only accepts strings, okay? And then let's see what we have. Then this is the table click, which is the last one that we saw with the explanation in detail. And to finish, my dear students, we have to delete the files that we are not going to use. So we could keep only the customer class, the main screen controller class, the my application class, and and the main screen fxml file. Okay, so let's go back to IntelliJ. Okay, but before deleting all those things, we're going to try to run our project, our app, so we can see and check it's working, my dear students. And we can see here our GUI for customer catalog, and we're going to try to type something. For example, 1, the ID. Remember that the ID shouldn't be repeated. The name part, the main part at hotmail.com, and the phone 123. I'm going to add this one to my table view, and then number 2, BB 57, add other one 3, C, and the phone 89. Okay, it's working pretty well. Now let's see if it modifies something. And now let's see number 2. And once we click check, my dear students, once we click in any of the customers, if we click in a blank row, it's not going to show the information. But if we click in any of the rows where we have a customer, for example, check that I am clicking in any of the other blank rows, and it is not giving me anything. But once I click in a row where I have a customer, it's going to show me the information of that specific customer. Okay, now let me check if I modify, for example, instead of part D, I'm going to modify, and yes, it's going to be modified. And for example, this number 2, if I try to modify the ID for number 1 and check that number 1 already exists, let's see if it let me to modify. And it's going to appear the warning. Remember the alert. Customer ID already exists. Accept, and all the text fields are going to be cleared. Okay, now let me check. Now, if we click in any other, for example, this one, if we want to delete this one, you just select the row that you want to delete, the customer that you want to delete, and then click in delete. And this is for us to confirm if we want to delete the customer C, and yes, accept, and the customer is going to be deleted. So it is working properly, my dear students. Let me close that one. And now check that we have like extra files here, the classes. So the customer, we are going to keep it. The hello customer, no, we don't need it. So select the hello customer careful, okay? Please try not to delete the ones that we are using. This is the hello customer class. Right click, and then we are going to select delete. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. And then view. You suggest delete anyway, because I am not using the hello controller. Okay. And then I am just keeping the customer class, which is the one that we created at the beginning of the project, the main screen controller, and my application, which is the one that we use to run all our applications. And then we have in the resources folder, we have these 2 fxml files. I'm going to keep the main screen fxml file, which is the one that we created. And then we're going to delete the hello view fxml file, right click, delete, and there we are. Let's try to run this again after deleting, so we can confirm that it is working. 1A12, and let me add this one. So we are able to add 2BB45, add, and then if we want to modify, let me select the number 2, and I'm going to modify by C, this one, and then modify, and yes, it is being changed. And then if I want to delete, for example, number 1, delete. Are you sure? Yes. And it is going to be deleted, and check that the number 2 goes to the first place in our table view. Good, my dear students. So that's it for our, let me close this one, for our project. I hope that you can do it, and let me know if you have any doubt. Have a great day and take care. See you in the class. Bye.